everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel if you guys are new. So compared to my other videos, I have decided to switch up the lighting situation. So I'm using natural daylight instead of my ring light, so hopefully the quality is a lot better than before. So this week is going to be a very exciting video because last week we covered my top 5 favorite high-end foundations. So of course this week we're going to be covering my top 5 favorite drugstore foundations. So if you guys want to know my top 5 favorite foundations from the drugstore, just keep on watching. So I have all my foundations sitting in front of me right now, so I'm not going in any particular order just like the last time. So here we go. So the first one I have here is the L'Oreal Freshwear foundation. This one has been a recent favorite of mine. It is full coverage, and again, you guys know that I love full coverage foundations, so I am a little bit more partial to full coverage as I am more sheer coverage foundations. So again, this one's full coverage. I would say it has a really natural finish. So it's a satin finish, so it's probably in between a dewy and a matte finish. This one does have SPF 25 inside of it, so it's really, really great to have as your everyday foundation, but really not good to wear if you're getting photos taken because, as we all know, SPF does kind of cause flashback in photos. So if you ever see a picture of somebody and they have kind of a lighter face or a ghostly looking face compared to their neck and their body, then that's what flashback is, and we all want to avoid that. So the reason I like this foundation so much is because it's super lightweight for it being really full coverage, which is good. And honestly, every single foundation from L'Oreal is flawless. I don't think I found a single formulation from L'Oreal yet that is a miss for me. All of them have definitely been hits. So I feel like any foundation that you choose from L'Oreal is probably going to be good. I do want to note with this Freshwear foundation that the only drawback is that it kind of almost has like a perfumey, florally kind of scent. Scents don't really tend to bother me that much, and fragrances don't irritate my skin at all. So usually I can slap just about anything on my face and have it be okay. So I just wanted to make everybody aware though, so in case you are really sensitive to fragrances, this might bother you a little bit. Okay, moving on to the next foundation. This is the L'Oreal Total Cover Foundation, and again, I said that L'Oreal really cannot go wrong with foundations. So this is another one of my recent top favorites. So this one definitely does have a different finish and a different feel than the L'Oreal Freshwear foundation. This one's a little bit more full coverage than it, and it almost kind of seems like a gel, if that makes sense. It's a little bit thicker, but it blends out really smooth. So, I mean, it's not really an issue. It doesn't feel like it's super cakey or anything, but for people who just aren't naturally used to wearing fuller coverage foundations, it might feel a little bit heavy. So this one does have a natural finish, just like the L'Oreal Freshwear foundation does, but I feel like this one dries down a little bit more matte. I do still have to set this one with a powder, otherwise I will still get kind of oily with it, but after that I'm good. It doesn't crease or move anywhere, and then a lot of oils don't really build up with it or anything either, so that's good. But it does have a little bit more of a matte finish, but it doesn't dry down all the way, if that makes sense. Okay, next is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. This one does come in 2 different formulas. They have a dewy one and they have a matte one. This one's the dewy one because I did not read with my eyeballs close enough, and I picked up the dewy one instead of the matte one. But I do usually like the matte formula better because, as we said before, I am very oily. The reason I like this one a lot is because it is actually called the Photo Focus Foundation because it's meant for flash photography. So this one doesn't have any SPF in it. And again, it's not supposed to reflect any light or bounce back or anything. So it looks flawless in photos. I mean, this looks really good. It's pretty much like if almost like you're wearing a high-end foundation and nobody will be able to tell, you know, that you're wearing like a $5 foundation. So I would say that this one has a medium coverage. It's not super full. The other 2 foundations that I mentioned before are pretty full coverage, but this one I feel like is more of a medium coverage. But again, I'm used to like a very full coverage. So unless it covers literally every single thing on my face, then it's not full coverage to me. The only awkward part about this foundation, I feel like, is that it has like this really awkward applicator. It's like a paddle stick sort of thing. Like it's really thin, but there's no brush. It literally is just a plastic tip, and I don't know, I almost wish that it had a brush or like a doe foot or squeeze tube or something, but I don't know. So Wet n Wild, you just need to put this in a different package, but otherwise it's fine. Next guy we have is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation. So this one's very similar to the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation in my higher end foundations that I mentioned in the first video. It is literally almost the same foundation, I promise you. It's very full coverage. It's more of a cream, like a heavy cream. And so this one definitely can feel very heavy on your face if you apply too much. And I would say this and the Kat Von D foundation are probably my fullest coverage foundations that I own. It's called the Conceal and Perfect because it's a 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. So again, you can use it as your foundation or you can use it as your concealer. So that's why it has to be a heavier coverage and a little bit thicker because it's meant to be used as a concealer too, which also means that it's eye safe as well. So usually I use concealers to prime my eyelids if they dry down matte enough, or right underneath my eyes. So with this guy, I literally don't even have to use a concealer, and same with the Kat Von D foundation too, because they're almost the same. So I can just go right underneath my eyes with it and right on my lids and kind of just blend everything out with a beauty blender or some other kind of blending sponge, and then it blends out flawlessly. Also, this guy does not budge. It sets itself in place. I don't even have to powder this one, so any people who have drier skin may not like this one that much, but again, you can mix in any sort of serum or moisturizer or an oil even and make this guy work for you if you have a little bit of a drier skin type. Just make sure you exfoliate really well and go in with it and you should be good. But again, I just use this one and heavier coverage foundations for that matter just on a special occasion basis because I don't like to use this every single day. Otherwise it can tend to clog my pores a little bit. So again, if I'm just using this for a special occasion, this is the one that I'll use. And then the last foundation we have is the Maybelline Fit Me Foundation. So I want to say that I've been using the Maybelline Fit Me Foundation for, I think it's been pretty much ever since I started in makeup. I want to say this is the very first foundation that I ever tried. And it's for a very good reason too, because a lot of people do find this really, really nice on their skin. This does come in a dewy formula and it comes in a matte formula too. So I have the matte version, obviously. So this one I would consider a natural matte. So this one doesn't really set on its own, for me at least. Again, if you have a drier skin type, this may be absolutely fine for you and you may not need to powder it. But for me, I just need to set a little bit of powder. I just take usually a fluffy brush and just set it a little bit with powder and it's good after that. But this one does not crease on me. It does not settle into fine lines and it blurs my pores, which is fantastic. So that's why I absolutely love this foundation. And I want to say that it's been a good 8 to 10 years that I've had a version of this foundation. Again, obviously not the same exact bottle that I have now. I've gone through multiple bottles now. But every single time I run out of this guy, I always have to purchase another one. It's just one of those foundations that I feel like I cannot live without. So I would say that out of all the drugstore foundations that I listed, this guy would be my favorite. The only thing with foundations is I feel like they either need to come in a pump or a squeeze tube or some kind of doe foot applicator that I can draw on my face, because this type of thing where you just have to start pouring it out and hope for the best, I'm way too clumsy for this. But again, my very favorite foundation regardless. All right, everybody, so that is my top 5 favorite drugstore foundations. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and also let me know down below in the comments if you guys have tried any one of these foundations and what your thoughts are about them, because obviously we all have different skin types, we're all different people, and a lot of different products work differently for us. So if you guys love some of these or hate some of these, I definitely want to know your opinions because we need to chat about these things. Also, if you didn't see my top 5 favorite high-end foundations, definitely go ahead and check that out too. I mentioned a lot of good foundations, and again, I am on the ultimate hunt for the greatest foundation ever. So if you guys have any suggestions for high-end foundations or drugstore foundations or even super top-of-the-line luxury foundations, I would be willing to try any of those and do a first impression. Again, I just like chatting with you guys about all things makeup because that's what we're here for. This is a makeup channel and skincare channel, and we're all here for the same thing. So if you guys enjoyed this video and would like to see more content from me, go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button as well. And also hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more videos from me in the future. I hope you guys are having an awesome day and having a great start to the week, and I will see you guys later. All right, bye guys.